Folks, we've got lots to discuss. Mr. Tuppy Tupperware, TUP, is skyrocketing and just broke out to another new cycle high at the end of this previous week. This is shaping up to be yet another massive short squeeze, and we will discuss what is likely coming next. Also, one of our top ideas ran up massively on Friday, up 284%. We are going to violently break down exactly what you need to know. And then we're going to be capping off this video by breaking down what's going on in the broader market right now, because this is going to be a big week for earnings, and a lot of stocks that you guys follow that are very popular in the retail space, like your AMC, your Palantir, and so on and so forth, are also going to be reporting this week. So there's going to be a lot that's going to be covered in this video, so make sure that you buckle up because it's going to be a ride. Let's get to work. Timestamps down below. Okay, first I want to break down what's going on with Tuppy Tupito. So for context, we originally briefed on Thou Holy Tupster at about 117 a share on July 24th as a short squeeze candidate, and it ran up to 725 at highs as of extended hours on Friday. That's a run of about 519% briefing price to highs. Now, of course, there is that saying that everybody is a genius in a bull market, and the truth is that a lot of small caps, especially the short squeezers, have been very strong this year as the overall market has been very supportive of them. So you do have to take that into account. It was a lot harder to find big short squeezers last year. This year, it's a lot easier. But that doesn't mean that everything is going to run, and you obviously can't just blindly buy into even the best of setups because they end up going down at the end of the day. Even the best short squeeze setups are very big money losers if you don't go in with a clear plan. People that don't know how to lock in profits have to lock in losses. Anyways, Tup had a huge pushback into Wednesday and then bounced off that momentum real fast. Now, when you see short squeeze setups with regular massive pushbacks that get bought up real fast like this, well, that means that you have a much higher shot of a longer winded momentum cycle. Why is that? Well, because in order for people to actually have confidence in a setup, they have to see it keep getting bought up. If something just goes up massively and then dives massively, there's no confidence there. People need to feel like they can make money if they buy back in. And in order for them to feel that way, they have to be able to look at the previous chart and see a history of that happening. Now, what's really interesting is the short situation here is getting a lot more tense. We've been talking about Tup for a while, and every single time I've talked about Tup, I've been like, hey, the short squeeze setup is getting more and more tense. Now, there's this incorrect narrative. Maybe the hedge funds are pushing this, but there's this incorrect narrative that short sellers are making out like bandits. They're super duper excited about this uptrend because that means that they could just short very aggressively now and make out tons and tons of money on the way down. They think this is the best thing since shredded wheat. But the facts of the situation and where they shorted from say otherwise. In fact, it shows very clearly that shorts are sitting on massive unrealized losses to the tune of very high percentage points. And sure, some of the more recent shorts are going to make money if this just completely dives and never comes back. But how much longer is this going to run? Because if this runs like it has been the last couple of weeks, even half as much as it has been, pretty obvious that a lot of these shorts are going to get completely destroyed. The data suggests that if the short sellers keep increasing their failing bet and the stock price continues to go up more and more squeeze speculators are going to take interest. They're going to become aware of this, and you're going to see more and more people buy. There's the situation in the market where squeeze speculators love to call short sellers bluffs. And once you get that final wave of massive squeeze speculators, well, the short sellers, they really start panicking. That's when short sellers have to start picking up their phone because they got margin calls everywhere. So anyways, we'll see what happens if this momentum can stay alive. I think you're going to see this get a lot more attention in the mainstream real soon. My thoughts on the short term, well, watch for more breaking down tomorrow and then a rebound early this week. I think that you're going to see some more dumping at open tomorrow, certainly in the pre-market. But after that, watch for some rebounding towards Tuesday or Wednesday. Watch for it to declare a solid support and then bounce off that. If that happens, is this going to get a lot of attention? Expect to see new cycle highs past that 725 real fast if that happens. Okay, next, Miss Fresh, MF. So on May 16th, we designated Miss Fresh, MF, as a top idea at 54 cents a share. We broke down the business, why we believed it was undervalued, and especially why we believed the solid cash position suggested an overall really solid opportunity. And it did run up about 127% from the original top idea alert to highs back then. back in May. However, on Friday, it just went up another 284% in one session, which means that from our original alert price in May to highs on Friday, it ran about 403%. And by the way, we did reiterate this one in the ZipTrader U morning briefing at about 142 a share Friday morning, just in case people had forgotten about this top idea, and it still had another 91.5% run into the day and the after hours. Now, of course, when we pick a top trade idea, what we're looking at are two things. Number one, the chart setup. Sometimes we're really focused on the chart setup, and or we're looking at the business itself. Is there a value arbitrage there? An example of a value arbitrage would be if the market cap is way, way below the net asset value of a company. When we are choosing a top idea, we are doing substantial due diligence, and we are choosing stocks that we believe, for very, very concrete reasons that we present, have real upside potential. And this stock is the perfect example of doing the work, analyzing the real value behind something, and then markets proving you right months later. And let's be real for a second. If you're somebody that wants to find a small cap stock before it runs massively, you have to, by definition, be willing to go against the grain. We got called a lot of names when we talked about MF. A lot of people thought this was a stupid play. But the thing is that if people had already unanimously decided that it was a good play, the stock would have already realized its run. The reason that we were able to call this out at a much lower price was because markets hated it and thought it was garbage. So the point here is not that, oh, Charlie gets everything right, or, oh, ZipTrader gets everything right. The point is that if you're going and doing your own due diligence on a small cap stock that you like, be prepared to see a lot of negative sentiment about it if the stock hasn't already run a lot. Any stock that hasn't run a lot, no matter how good it is, people are going to say, this is garbage, this is trash. And then when it runs, they're going to say, oh, we called it out. It was perfect. Yeah, we saw that coming. A lot of people get screwed up because they listen to what the Reddit formers are saying, what the people on all these different chat rooms are saying about a stock. And they think, oh, if everybody thinks it's bad, it must be bad. The fact of the matter is, folks, that if you are going to listen to them, you're going to be following the herd. And the herd always buys at the wrong time. Most people in the herd will never do their own due diligence on a stock. They will never, ever buy a stock before it's at a new all-time high. And at which point, they'll hold it until it goes down to a new low. Most people will never take self-accountability for risk management. If you are following what they are doing, which they are losing tons of money doing, you are also going to lose tons of money. So again, be prepared when you're finding small cap stocks, do your research on that. A lot of people, for the best of stocks, are going to say they're terrible. But anyways, Miss Fresh's catalysts were 2 share purchase agreements with 2 institutional investors that saw the value that this company had like we did and valued it accordingly. Now, did I know that they were going to have this catalyst or when it would happen? Of course not. I did not know that. But when you look at an underlying business model, you look at where it's trading and you value it accordingly, and you see, hey, there's a big value gap here. Well, it's almost inevitable that something is going to recognize it eventually. Now, anyways, in celebration of these plays, I am going to go ahead and knock down the price of ZipTrader U 55% for this week only. Coupon code SQUEEZE55 will get you 55% off before checkout. You just got to put it in the little coupon code spot and you will be golden. It's a one-time fee and you're going to like it a lot. You'll get access to our 10+ hours of step-by-step lessons, our private chat, which is very useful if you're an active trader during market hours, and of course, our very popular daily morning briefings. And you'll also get access to the top ideas before everybody else gets them. We have a new top idea coming this week, so that might be something that you want to tune in for. You want to join us before. Okay, moving on. So we've got lots of key plays reporting earnings this week. The most interesting one is going to be Madam Palantir on Monday after close. Palantir has been on a massive run for weeks, really since the last earnings report, and this earnings is going to be the first check on that run to see how much this current market is actually willing to deal with real numbers. Look, I love Palantir. I've said this a million times. I've made a million videos over the past few years, but I have a big suspicion that now that it's trading much higher, well, earnings expectations are going to be way too high. I think markets are running this stock up on hype and AI euphoria versus actually being interested in the company. And when people are buying this and they're not interested in the company, well, that means they're not going to be interested in what the company actually has to report, except for the headline numbers, which Palantir doesn't have a good track record with that. And this will be the first test of that, and I'd love to be wrong on this and see it pump after earnings and retain its overall momentum cycle, but more likely than not, I believe that you're going to see this report show that Palantir is indeed making a lot of progress towards its goal, probably going to be one of the best quarters yet. But at the same time, I think that Wall Street's going to have very little patience. Maybe you get a little pop after earnings and then momentum goes down as the catalyst goes behind it. But I think that if you really break down this report, it's going to be really solid. It's going to say, hey, all of the things that we've been talking about for years on Palantir, well, Palantir is executing. Of course, short-sighted Wall Street won't be happy with that because they'll be like, okay, they're executing, but we have to wait a couple more months to see even better numbers. Sell everything, short it to the ground. And then as momentum continues to pick up, they'll start putting out good positive press releases again. Yeah, we love Palantir. We've been loving Palantir for years. We weren't just short this 3 months ago. No, we've been long-term believers. Then you have Lucid, you have Chegg, Beyond Meat is also reporting. BYND does tend to get a lot of trading activity around earnings, so if you like to trade earnings, that's going to be a good one. Tuesday, you have UPS, Datadog. D-Dog is another one that tends to have a lot of activity around earnings. Another one you want to put right on your radar for that earnings day. Then you got Rivian, AMC should get a lot of attention. Mr. Ooga Booga, Upstart, lots of trading opportunity around earnings historically as well. Mara, lovely Mara, is certainly going to be a nice report to read. Downtown, big AI play. Luminar, Wednesday, you got Roblox, Penn Gaming, Wendy's, Disney, The Trade Desk, Win, CGC, Sonos. Thursday, you got Alibaba, Baba Go Shiba Baba, and Friday, you got Air Canada. Now, let's conclude today's video with my view on the market and what you can expect this week. So, markets have taken a pretty sizable and substantial pullback the last week or so, largely on those credit downgrade fears, but reality is that August and September tend to be underperformers historically. Yes, I know this year has broken a lot of historical norms, but breaths are normal in any good cycle, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this downtrend continue for a few more weeks at minimum. It seems the Fed is on a PR tour, trying to use their soft power of speech to guide markets lower and get the economy's froth down, and that is not historically a great thing. And combining that with August and September being traditional snoozers for the stock market, well, I would argue that markets are indeed setting up for a breath, and you'll see more concentration of interest, at least from the trader side, into some of the smaller names again, like your super duper small caps, your catalyst plays, FDA specifically in terms of FDA catalyst plays in the pipeline, and then your short squeezers. And again, if you would like help finding some of the hottest plays in the market, well, we do our best to give you that every single market open morning in ZipTrader Use daily morning briefings. And again, coupon code SQUEEZE55 will get you 55% off that, and you can join us before tomorrow's daily morning briefing, which I think it's going to be a hot day and a hot week this coming week, at least for short squeezers, because if you look at all the other short squeezers the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot, so people are going to be like, let's look everywhere else and let's start creating a self-fulfilling prophecy and pouring all over the place. That's what we've seen in many other cycles. Short squeeze stocks tend to start heating up week after week after week, and then you have a few weeks that are just insane. I think this week might be a big one, especially for Tupperware. Anyways, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.